Well, that's because there were always complicated components to the situation. The first of which is you got to find a team willing to give up the draft compensation. The 49ers went and did that and in fact, they found a couple of teams willing to give it up. Then you have to have a team willing to give Brandon Ayuk a big contract offer. They also feel like they found that on the market, a team willing to give up draft compensation and a big contract, but you also have to have Brandon Ayuk agree to that deal. And we've said all along, it feels like Brandon Ayuk wants to have free agency a year early. Well, he's getting a little dose of it, but not the entire thing. He still does not like the contract offers on the table from these other teams. And as such, we still have Brandon Ayuk potentially playing for the 49ers in 2024.
How important is this, Hawk? How important is Brandon Ayuk to the chances of the 49ers winning the Super Bowl, and in particular for the continued development of their quarterback, Brock Purdy?
I think it's huge. I think he's probably the single most important piece offensively in their pass game, because Brock Purdy's development and maturation is in large part due to Brandon Ayuk. When you watch that film a year ago and there were times when Deebo Samuel wasn't there, the passing game continued to thrive because Purdy and Ayuk's chemistry on the field. And even when you look from year 1 to year 2, the way that they filled in the gaps offensively because of their chemistry, it is absolutely imperative that they have him on this offense. And I think it's very clear to me, at least, I think Brandon Ayuk actually wants to stay.
So we'll wait and find out. Again, he's not playing. He's holding in. Reddick is holding out. We have all of that. And then there's the biggest of them all. We remain shocked that there was no deal done yet.
And these guys trying to feel like they have leverage. It feels like Hassan Reddick has very little. It feels like Brandon Ayuk has a little bit more. And it feels like CeeDee. Last season, CeeDee Lamb, 181 targets, first in the league. 135 catches, first in the league. 596 routes run, 5th in the league. This is a guy who is productive and he is used very often and he knows it. Listen, it would shock me if this deal is not done by week 1, but every day that we don't have a deal, there is certainly no imminence to it, and it doesn't feel like there is any certainty to it, Greeny.
That's right. I mean, everyone understands the significance of CeeDee Lamb to this offense, including arguably the greatest Cowboy ever. The Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith was on the Blogging with the Boys podcast talking about how CeeDee's holdout is impacting Dak. Listen.
Without him on the football field, they putting all the pressure on Dak Prescott now. And that is unacceptable, because every quarterback of his caliber should have quality people to throw the ball to. Not no plan B or no plan C or no plan D guy. He should be in a position, as your franchise quarterback, he should be in a position to be successful. And right now, you're putting him behind the 8 ball. And that is not right. And that's how I see it.
That's interesting. For anyone who knows Emmitt, and Hawk, go ahead.
He's preaching. He's preaching right now. Get that receiver out there for Dak. It's necessary.
True. Yeah, and I would add, or what I was just going to say, Hawk, is for all of us who know Emmitt, and you don't have to know him personally to have seen him on television basically what feels like your entire life, he's such an easygoing person that for him to be that level of frustrated, for him to be willing to go sort of that far in his an outspoken frustration with the way his team, the Dallas Cowboys, are handling this, I think is also telling. Hawk, pick it up from there.
Runs through CeeDee Lamb. He is the single most important playmaker on this offense. They run the West Coast. They call it the Texas Coast because it's a fuse of their last offense and the traditional West Coast. And in that offense, you need a receiver who is great at yak. It's a lot of dink and dunk. It's precise, but you get the ball in your playmaker's hands, and he does it from there. What CeeDee Lamb brings to the table is the ability to go deep and have that yak, so he actually fills multiple roles in this offense. Without him, this is a completely different offense and a completely different Cowboys football team.
What do you think, Bartholomew?
I mean, Jerry Jones isn't panicking, right? And you talk about Emmitt Smith and his trajectory. You remember when he won the Super Bowl, he famously held out the first game to get his contract.
2 games. He held out 2 games. The Cowboys were over.
Contract out of
then
all.
What are we waiting for?
Because he's still hoping, I believe, that maybe we can get something done with Dak and then able to fill in CeeDee later. CeeDee Lamb isn't going anywhere. And listen, this is the new NFL. Trent Williams, 36 years old, 3 years left on the deal. He realized that the market has changed. He wants his money. CeeDee Lamb is going to get his money. He just got to be patient. No matter what, I can't see him not entering the season with a new contract. Jerry's going to get it done. And I think, he is the most important guy on the team.
I'm going to say something to you that you're going to remember, because this, it feels like it happens all the time, but I'm just going to use one example. when players who play that kind of position outside the numbers, be it wide receivers or defensive backs, when they hold out right up until the season starts, what always happens, and it happened to Darrelle Revis on your defense, always happens.
Soft tissue injuries.
Right, a hamstring,
that's what
something like that, because everyone else is at 100% and they're at 50 and they're trying to get there, and that guy always gets hurt. And that's what they're risking by wasting all this time making a deal that all of you and I could make this deal in 10 minutes.
It's a very valid point. I mean, I think he fits right in between, either Cheetah and Justin.
No, I just think that this is not like the Hassan Reddick situation where you've got a guy who hasn't played a down for the team, that you don't know what he is, all those things, and you don't really want to pay him. This is CeeDee Lamb. You know exactly what he is. You've seen this coming from 3 miles away. You got to pay him. The blueprint is there. Justin Jefferson has been paid. There is no more excuses for CeeDee Lamb not to be under contract with the Cowboys.
Let me just say one other thing before we do anything else. I cannot believe where we find Jeff Darlington today. That's the same shot I always see of you, Jeff. That means you're still in the same house. Quick reads. Let's run through some rookies. Hawk, I'm starting with you. What'd you see from Jaden Daniels' look the other day? Can he lead?
Holes in this roster, but I love what I saw from him, because what you get with Jaden Daniels is an ability to throw down the field.
About J.J. McCarthy, should he be Minnesota's Week 1 starter?
Yes, I mean, I think he showed tremendous poise, pocket awareness, and he has some of the best skill position players, I believe, in the league. I think this Minnesota team has really been slept on. Kevin O'Connell knows how to coach. He knows how to design plays. He is scheming guys wide open. McCarthy should go ahead and get the start. He has a lot of experience.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. He certainly did play a lot in college. Jeff, Bo Nix was terrific in his preseason action the other day. Has Sean Payton found his next quarterback?
It sure feels like it. Sooner rather than later, I'd say, too. Great stat from Hembo here on that preseason game. Nix took only 4 pressures on 22 dropbacks, meaning he's getting the ball out really fast. 19 of 21 throws were quick or in rhythm, which means less than 4 seconds. That's the exact prototype of player that Sean Payton wants. That was the thing that frustrated them the most about Russell Wilson last year. He didn't love that Russ wouldn't get to the line of scrimmage fast enough.
About Justin Fields, which is a conversation I know we'll get into. I'm looking for veterans who have control of the offense, who understand what's going on defensively, because the schemes aren't as sophisticated as they're going to be doing what you don't expect. Or what if a receiver doesn't get his depth on a route? Do you have a quarterback that can fill in the gap? And when you watch Caleb Williams, he looked like he was doing that at a veteran level.
What'd you see?
I mean, I saw a guy that was poised in the pocket. I saw a guy that's really adapting, throwing the ball on the run, on the move. When plays break down, like his eyes upfield, not looking to rush, have a feel for the rush and still deliver accurate passes and make great decisions. That's really what it's all about. Under pressure, can you make quality decisions?
Yeah, he's no Rex Grossman, but he is looking pretty good. That's somewhat of a joke. I do believe Rex Grossman is the most underrated quarterback in the history of the world. But listen, Caleb Williams showed comfortability. He just looked comfortable. He looked like a grown-up.
Perspective. So I asked the group, who do we think is going to win Offensive Rookie of the substantially so? Cindy, let's put the picks up there. So I see a couple of Caleb Williams, Bartholomew, but I got a glare on my screen. Jaden Daniels, you think it's going to be Jaden?
I like Jaden Daniels. I think the expectations are so high for Caleb, but he's going to be a victim of his personnel, saying, look at everything that he has. I think he can have an RG3 type of season, a Lamar Jackson type of effect. Because he's a dual threat guy, he can push for 1,000-yard rushing, and he has weapons on the outside as well. But I think, he's athletic. He can do things in a pocket that's really eye-popping.
Look, weird things happen in that division. Weirder things have happened in history. Give me literally the fastest receiver ever to come out of college and put him on Patrick Mahomes' offense. I'm going to suggest that Xavier Worthy might, Hawk, just do things that we don't see rookie receivers do very often.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I get scared by the fastest receivers every time they come out. For whatever reason, they haven't worked out. If there's a scenario where it will work out, to your point, Greeny, it is with probably the most talented quarterback we've ever seen in Patrick Mahomes. That big question mark comes around, what are the other receivers and how much burden is going to be on Xavier Worthy to be that guy right away?